All right, we are back with another pick'em video. Going to be going on my favorite plays for the NBA today, and we got 8 great games. There's some solid matchups. There's some injury news that we have to be working out, but there's definitely a lot of good plays on the board between Prize Picks and Underdog. We're going to be talking both today because it is Flex Friday over on Prize Picks. If you don't know what that is, it's pretty much a protected play up to $20. Now, there is a technical difficulty or something they just tweeted out, so it's not available to opt in just yet. But once it is, just go to the promotions tab and click opt in, and you'll get a $20 free play. So if you lose it, it still goes back into your account. And then on Underdog, it's Freaky Friday. I checked out all these discounts. We have till 3 o'clock, so about an hour and a half left to do these ones. And then once these ones are up, we usually have another Freaky Friday option where you get to choose one of these lines again. And looking at these ones, I haven't looked too much into them, but they all look great. Maybe this Damian Lillard line is the scariest, quote unquote, just because Cleveland has a pretty good defense. But Wemby should have a great game. Luka potentially no Kyrie, and going up against Atlanta looks great. And then KD, fast-paced Indiana team. I will say there's no Halliburton, but he should be able to crush this line as well. So Freaky Friday, check it out. Link in the description for $100 or 100% deposit match on up to $100, if I can say that. On Underdog, if you're not on Underdog, use code RichPicks. Again, just hit the link in the description. It's a little bit easier. And then on Prize Picks, just go in it and opt in. But going over our video picks from last time, if you're new here, we go over the plays every single time. Doesn't matter if I go 0 for 5, 5 for 5, doesn't matter what it is. We had a really solid day yesterday, and we were messing around with these stacking opportunities in the NBA. And that's back-to-back videos where they worked out really, really well. So Kuzma and Tyus Jones hit together. Now Kuzma just went over, but did get there for us. And then Jordan Clarkson goes over his PRA. Nice little game stack there. And then really the teammate stack was the Kuzma and Tyus Jones line. We looked into them assisting each other a decent amount like that. And their fantasy scores hitting in unison more likely than not. And then Towns, coming off a 62-point game. Maybe he had one more game in there, but he was coming off like 20 3-point attempts between the last 2 games. And I knew his coach wasn't very happy with that. He ends up only shooting 3 threes. Now, he made 2 of them, but he only shot 3 of them. So great call there. Did go on the under. And then Curry ends up being the guy that sells our 5-man. But we'll take the double up any day of the week. It was Jonathan Kuminga down the stretch who was playing really, really well. Curry came on out of the gates like on fire, but kind of cooled down and let Kuminga cook and then turn the ball over to end that game. But great day. We'll take 4 for 5 any day of the week. And let's jump into the board. All right, so before we jump into a specific pick for this video, I'm going to show you something that a fantasy optimizer just pointed out to me that kind of really shows the power of these tools that I use. And again, I preach them, I use them every single day in these videos, but it's not just so you guys get on and use my code or whatever. It's because it's helpful. They're helpful tools. And when you get access to them, you're getting access to lines that are going to be moving very quickly. If you're wondering, oh, how does every single time this guy posts a video, all his lines get moved? It's not because I'm some genius. It's because I'm attacking value where it is and inefficiencies in the market. And these optimizers make it extremely easy to do that. So if you have no idea what I'm talking about right now, I'm just going to show you. So over on DG Fantasy, this is one of the optimizers I use. Again, links in the description. There's a free 7-day trial for OddsJam and then 25% off your first month for either of these if you guys use my code. It helps the channel, but again, they're super powerful and useful. So what I'm seeing right here is a bunch of Rockets players popping up and then Max Strus. And what this means is they just dropped Rockets lines. So if I went to go refresh this, it's been a few minutes, these lines will all be gone. But what the optimizer is saying is, hey, you just happened to come on when they dropped Rockets lines. And Sengun, specifically his line, came out way, way too low. PrizePicks dropped his PRA at 39.5, and it's saying you should probably crush this over. It's a 58.55% chance to hit based on our algorithm. And it's because every other sportsbook that has that line up right now is at 41.5. So you can get access to these opportunities. They will go away very quickly. And it doesn't happen all the time. I'm not going to say you can go on and just see these happen all the time. But you can definitely get lucky like I just did and say, oh, Rockets lines just popped up. I should probably go ahead and smash this. And who should I combo it with? You can go to Fantasy Score right here, but it's only got 1 data point to go off of. I can't match up Sengun to Sengun. These two have 1 data point to go off of. Fred VanVleet's his teammate. But here we go. Max Strus over 1.5 turnovers. Minus 140 on these other sports books. That looks like pretty good value. Let me put that into 2-man real quick. And the reason I'm showing you guys this is because I guarantee that this Sengun line at 39.5 is now at 41.5 on PrizePicks minutes later. So let's go to Sengun. And right here, popping up 41.5. And again, we just took advantage of a 2-point difference in between sports books. And it was only up for a minute, but we were able to attack that value. So that is the power of these optimizers. It's why I use them every day. It's why I preach them. Hey, maybe you guys should try this. OddsJam has a free trial. DG Fantasy, I prefer just a little bit in terms of the optimizer because they include fantasy scores. But OddsJam has a bunch of other tools that you should try out. But yeah, just wanted to let you guys know it was a great opportunity to kind of show you visually. And we'll jump into the picks now. But awesome, awesome, awesome line right there. All right, so now jumping into the board and getting some lines that we can still actually play. Let's go to Markelle Fultz at 4.5 assists. I'm going to be going under here. Now, he is coming back from injury. He's been back for about 7 games now, and he's starting to start games again. But I still like the under. Going up against Memphis, it's kind of a team that's been all over the place in terms of injuries, in terms of performance. But Orlando's getting a little bit healthier. And since Fultz and all these other guys have been out, Franz was out for a long time, Paolo has been really the guy that's been handling the ball. And we can check that out with their stats. So before we even jump into outlier or anything else, I do want to show the potential assists the last 7 games since Markelle Fultz has been back. And this is per game. And we see Paolo is getting about 11.1 potential assists per game. His line's at 4.0. Fultz's potential assist per game is at 6.4, and his line's at 4.5. So I think it's a great opportunity for the under here, and it does look great in terms of hit rate as well. So over on Outlier, this is a supporter of the channel, a partner. Definitely hit the link in the description. They give you a 7-day free trial, so there's no reason not to at least try it out. But it shows us 8 of the last 10 games he's been under this. Again, since coming back from injury, this game was right here. He stayed under against Atlanta. Minnesota makes sense. Miami might make sense. Actually went over against New York, but then Atlanta again went under Philadelphia and Atlanta. So not the easiest matchups in the world, but did stay under against Atlanta twice, which is a good sign, a team that plays fast and gives up a whole bunch of assists. Now, in terms of Memphis, they actually don't give up a whole bunch of assists, but this line is probably skewed, or this number is probably skewed just because of the injuries they have. They're a totally different team. But I like it. The odds are looking great. Hasn't hit this in a decent amount of time. So really liking this line for Markelle Fultz, especially with Paolo now handling the ball a decent amount more than he has, in the past year. So I like Fultz under. Let's go to the odds jam, or let's go to the fantasy optimizer over on DG Fantasy. Let's check out Fultz, and we can see he's got 2 lines. So I did want to point this out as well. The under 4.5 assists is right here. Minus 140 on Pinnacle is great to see, but minus 130 across the board pretty much everywhere else. So very much favored on the under here. Now, I do want to point out, if you don't like this line, or if you think Fultz is going to hit this line, go to his rebounds assists, because that's another good line on the over here. That's because his rebounds and his assist line are at 3.5 and a 4.5. If you put that together, it's at 8, but we're getting a 7.5 line for his rebounds assist line. So I like the under 4.5, but if you want to go over, I'd recommend adding the rebounds in there as well. So Markelle Fultz on the under. Let's go to RotoWire, our last data point here, and get the projections for the projection model. Another supporter of the channel, hit the link in the description. This is actually completely free right now, but if you hit the link, it just lets them know that I sent you there. So let's go to Fultz, and we see that his assist line is slightly on the under in terms of projection as well, 4.14. If he gets 4, it might be a little sweaty, but we just can't have that 5th one come up. So Markelle is our first play on the under. And let's continue moving on. So next up, we're going to go to Brook Lopez. 12.5 points going up against his kryptonite, Jarrett Allen, in Cleveland. These guys have faced each other 3 times this year. Milwaukee took the first one in a close game. Then Cleveland absolutely destroyed Milwaukee. And then Milwaukee took the most recent one. So these guys did play each other just the other day, the 24th, so 2 days ago. And he only had 8 points. But let's go to Outlier, check it a little bit further, and see why this line is looking pretty solid for us. Let's go to Brook. Let's go to his points line at 12.5 right here. And we can see Cleveland is a great matchup, 3rd ranked in terms of points allowed. So that's right off the bat. They're also giving us an expected value tag. So if you get rid of the sportsbook advantage, this minus 125 odds that they're showing on DraftKings really is translating to a minus 152 odds. So that's really good to see as well. And then in terms of the hit rate for the whole year, it's 50% on the season, which isn't the best. In terms of the last 10, it's 50%. So again, not the best. But the biggest thing for me is the hit rate against the head-to-head. And Jarrett Allen seems to be a guy that he cannot really score on. These 3 were all this year. He had 9, 11, and 8. And then against Cleveland back in January of last year, he had 10. So 5 of the last 7 times he's faced Jarrett Allen and the Cavs, he's gone under, which is great to see. even with the minutes being pretty high. So I like this spot for us. Again, this is a teams that probably don't like each other. They've played each other a decent amount of times, and they've kind of split the difference. So if the Cavs go out and win this one, that would be a total split on the season. But Milwaukee is a -6 favorite. It is another thing to note that Giannis is a game time decision. I think he's going to play, so I don't think this will be an issue. But in those games without Giannis, he's also gone under in both those games. Is this the head-to-head matchup too? So yeah, he has also gone under in both those games this year. Yeah, this is Toronto and Cleveland. So both those games he went under. So good to see. Brook Lopez under 12.5 is looking pretty solid. But let's go to the optimizer, see where the market value is, and seeing if we're attacking a good line. Let's go find Brook. And we're finding him 12.5, 53.34% chance to hit. Pinnacle's got this at -152. That's crazy. Both these odds are incredible. The hit rates have been really good as well, and I love the matchups. So both these lines are looking really good. Can anything happen? Yes. But I just love attacking value. -152 on Pinnacle, 11.5 on FanDuel. We're getting to 12.5. And then everywhere else is a 12.5, but around -130 value. So definitely some great odds to go under. I do want to point out the projection model does look like Brook Lopez on the over here. But again, I'm not hiding anything from you guys. I just like to point out all the data. And Brook Lopez popping up, if we can find his points line. Right here, 12.5, they are projecting 13.19. So it's not like it's crazy over, but I did want to point out it is slightly on the over. So the odds are looking great. The hit rate looks great. The matchup against Jared Allen looks great. But the projection model is the only thing that's slightly on the over here. But loving the under, and let's jump into our next play. All right, so the next guy we're going to attack is going to be Luka Doncic. So definitely a fun one to go after today. 3.5 3-pointers made. Going to be going over here. And one of the bigger reasons, not the biggest, but it's the fact that Kyrie's out for this game. So he just got ruled out, as I was making this. So Kyrie not playing. That's great for Luka's usage. And Luka's got a great matchup going against Atlanta. Going into his outlier page right here, we've got that 3-pointers made line. Atlanta gives up 13.6 3-pointers per game, which is 23rd ranked. That's great to see. In terms of this line, Luka's gone over this in 51% of the games. But when we look at games without Kyrie, that gets really good. 67% of the games he's gone over this, 10 of 15. So love to see that. The minutes will be there. He gets a whole bunch of run, and he's been playing pretty well lately. And love to see, 4 of the last 5 times without Kyrie, he's gone over this line. And the time he missed was against Cleveland, a tougher defense, and he had 3. So great spot for Luka here. This one could potentially get taken off the board. So want to attack it early. But let's go to the odds, the market value. Don't have to go too far down the optimizer because it is the top play on the optimizer right now as it loads up, or it was. Luka right here, 3.5, 53.95% chance to hit is incredible. FanDuel's at -146, -130 pretty much everywhere else. But again, no Kyrie going up against the Hawks. It's a great spot for him. So Luka over 3.5, great market value. Do want to go to the projection model. I have not looked at this one yet, but we'll see if it's on our side. And it is very slightly. They're projecting 3.59. So very 50-50 line in terms of projections, but everything else pointing towards the over. So loving this Luka line at 3.5. That will be our third play. Let's keep it going. All right, so for our next play, we are going to unleash the beast, Wembanyama. I'm going to go to his 34.5 points and rebounds. I'll show you why I'm doing that in a second, but we're going over this, and do want to open up this tab really quickly. His limits restriction just bumped up to 30 minutes. So it was at 24. Now it's at 30. He had been getting like 26, 27 minutes. He's been absolutely balling lately. So if we see him for 30 minutes, we've been, again, seeing 27, 28. If he gets that extra added 2 minutes, that'd be huge for us just because he's been playing so well. So unleash the beast. They finally are. Wemby, 34.5 points and rebounds. Why am I taking that one? Because when I went to the fantasy optimizer, I liked Wemby's matchup. I wanted to bet the over on Wemby today. And they're pointing out that the best over for him, including his points, is the points and rebounds line, 34.5. They're giving us a 52.87% chance to hit. Now, I will say this is getting definitely brought up because of this FanDuel line at 36.5. I'm not saying FanDuel's right at 36.5, but it's nice to see that they are up there. Everywhere else got this at 34.5, around -120 value. So we're definitely getting some good odds, and it's definitely favored to go over. So that's the Wemby line that I'm going with. Let's go to the outlier page for him. 50% of the last 10 games he's gone over this. Again, coming off a 33-7 game and a 24-12 game. This is a great matchup. That was against 2 tough opponents in OKC and Philadelphia. This is a 3.5-point spread in favor of the Spurs, so this should be a close one. And rebounds allowed, points allowed, they are, pretty high up there. 22nd in rebounds allowed, 19th in points allowed. So love this spot for Wemby. And these guys did play earlier in the year, and he had 30 points and 6 rebounds. So his line is up on rebounds. He's been rebounding the ball pretty well. And if he goes out and scores 30 points, this should be a shoo-in for us. So he's been playing really well. We can check out the minutes. This is 2023 as a whole. Again, we're looking more at the last 10 games as he's been balling. But 26, 26, 24, he hasn't cracked that 30 mark. But if he gets that 30 mark, I expect him to crush this line. So Wemby is in a great spot for us today. Do want to check the projection model. Don't think it's loving him today, just because of that, maybe that minutes restriction or what it might be. But points and rebounds, we can see we're getting great value on Prize Picks. This is bumped over on Underdog, it looks like. Underdog's got this at 35.5. Sportsbooks like it on the over here, just like we looked at the odds. But the projection is at 31.77. So again, if you're just a strict projections person, definitely take a look at this. But again, it's nice to have it when it's all pointing in the right direction. But if one of your data points is off, it's not the end of the world. So I like Wemby today, and I love the spot for him. So let's get one more play for you guys, and that is going to be Fred VanVleet. So let's go to Freddie. He's got a great matchup. We talked about Sengun's line popping up on the optimizer way too low. They did get adjusted, but Fred VanVleet is still a little bit too low in my opinion. 24.5 points and assists going up against Charlotte. A great matchup for Houston here, and love Fred VanVleet at this line. So let's go to his page over on Outlier. We can see that they played each other once this year. This was way earlier in the year, so just note that. But back in November, he had 22 and 11, so that would get us there right there. This was a game that they won pretty decently, 128 to 119. Now in 2023 as a whole, he's gone over this in 54% of the games. In the last 10 games, he's gone over in 6 of the last 10. So we see a whole lot of green in terms of the matchup. Points allowed, they're 24th. Assists allowed, they're 27th. Their defense is not the best in the world, as you guys can see. And he's gone over this in 3 straight, so that's good to see as well. So a lot of good signs in terms of hit rates pointing towards the over. But let's check out the odds, the market value over here on the optimizer. Fred VanVleet over 24.5 is his best line on the board right now. You could go a few different ways here, but 24.5 is on Prize Picks. Everywhere else has this at 25.5. So again, we're getting some great value, some great market value. So attacking there, 52.18% chance to hit. Not the best in the world, but definitely favored on the over. And then in terms of the projection model, let's go to Fred VanVleet. Again, great matchup. They love it over here on the projection model, so it's great to see everything pointing in the right direction. They're projecting 25.48. Again, all we need is 25, and everything looking really good. Looks like this is already bumped up to 25 on Underdog. So getting some great value over on Prize Picks. Those are going to be our 5 plays. Feel free to do Flex Friday with these, and I'll go ahead and submit this one with you guys. Because lines were moving all around, I had to kind of work on the fly here, but I think we got 5 really good lines. So Markelle Foltz under 4.5 assists. Again, if you don't like this line, if you want to take the over, don't just go over his assists, take his rebounds and assists. That's the better one. But again, I like the under for assists for Markelle today, going up against Memphis. Brook Lopez going up against his kryptonite in Jared Allen, 12.5 points going on the under. Luka without Kyrie, 3.5 3-pointers made on the over. Victor Wembanyama, 30 minutes limit minutes limit is now up to 30 minutes is what I mean to say. 34.5 points and rebounds, his best line on the board for the over. Great matchup against Portland. And then Fred VanVleet, another great matchup, 24.5 points and assists. So let's go ahead and lock that in together. Again, feel free to use that for your Flex Friday play, or if you just pick and choose your favorite ones, that's why I give you guys 5. I don't just give you 2 and say, hey, take these. Here's 5 great options that you can, decide if you like my reasoning and ultimately decide if you want to take it. Now, I did say we'll go over on Underdog as well because it's Freaky Friday over there. So let's go check out those lines real quick. All right, so jumping over to Underdog here. We did have to adjust a few of the lines, but Markelle Foltz under 4.5 is available. Brook Lopez under 12.5 points is still available. Fred VanVleet's points and assist line at 24.5 is up to 25.5. So we're doing the over 28.5 PRA. And then Wemby's line is also bumped up a little bit. So we're going to go to his PRA as well. And then in terms of Freaky Friday, if I can get to the top of this page, here it is, Freaky Friday. If you want to throw in that Luka line, they don't have his 3.5 3-pointers line on Underdog, but they do have the Freaky Friday line. So you can go ahead and put that in as a 5-man or a 3-man, because on Underdog, 3-mans do 6x. So I pretty much only run 3-mans on Underdog. I think it's great value, and you get to win a lot. But if you want to go ahead and take advantage of this Freaky Friday, go ahead and do Luka here at 40.5. I think that's my favorite, especially with no Kyrie today. So those are our underdog slips. If you don't have underdog, guys, definitely check them out. Again, Freaky Fridays every single week. They also throw promotions at us, discounts randomly throughout the week. It's just a great tool to have. If you like a pick on, or if you like us line on Prize Picks, you might as well check it over on Underdog. Sometimes they're different. So it's nice to be able to line shop. And then again, Prize Picks has been here a while. If you're not on Prize Picks, you can hit my link in the description as well. But that will do it for this one. Check out any of my links for tools, guys. I showed you how good the Fantasy Optimizer can be. It's very powerful. Outlier has been with me since day one. They're a tool I use every single day. It's very seamless to look at hit rates, matchups, everything like that. And then RotoWire, they're also great. The great projections model, my favorite projections model. And it's nice to be able to have them as well. And then Underdog, Prize Picks, sign up for those. Chalkboard and Sleeper also do those, guys. Sleeper's doing a $500 deposit match. They also have a promo out for the weekend of football. They have McCaffrey's lines discounted, and they have Lamar's line, I think, discounted pretty decently. It's like 20% a discount on each of those lines. So check out Sleeper. And then Chalkboard, if you guys are interested in alt lines, they do it best over there. You can take, let's say you want to go to a points line and you say, oh, Sengun's going to have a great game, but maybe, I don't know if he's going to get 25. You could put this alt line down to like 19.5 and go over that for a different payout. So Chalkboard's very interesting. Check them out as well. I'm sorry this one's coming out a little bit later than usual. Again, I kind of waited for the Flex Friday and then it ended up getting pushed back. But hopefully, you got 5 hours to see this and get some picks in. So hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next video tomorrow. Peace out.